I thought I was maybe Skyping into the 70s. Why is this guy's shirt open here?
That was
ruining the whole internet for everyone. Could somebody have him close up his shirt?
$50 was donated to the children to widen the shirt. It is remaining wide until more money comes in to either widen it further or close it.
How about the chest hair? If I donate some money, can we add some chest hair?
It would not be natural chest hair. I have yet to go through puberty.
I think we can make that happen, though. I think we have the props for it here.
Yeah. We have false beards and things.
Do you have like one of those curly mustaches?
Yeah, yeah, we can totally find something like that. Here. Oh. Again, we'll see. We'll see if.
There it is.
Get
now
nice...
it's 1978.
Oh. There we go. Yeah. That's looking good right there.
You could be one of the Bee Gees.
So, Ernie, do you want to just we've been talking a little bit about you just as an intro to this call, but if you care to introduce yourself to our viewers, that'd be super awesome.
I'm Ernie Klein. I'm a screenwriter. I wrote the movie Fanboys that came out a few years ago. And I'm also a novelist, and I wrote the novel, the New York Times bestseller, Ready Player One, that just came out in August. And that's me. And I'm a huge nerd, also. Does that sum it up? Did I lose sound on you guys?
There you go. Sorry.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, cool.
So as I was mentioning earlier, you also have a sweet ride.
I do. I had to take my daughter to school in my sweet ride this morning. I have a 4-year-old, and she likes to play spaceship in the DeLorean. It's her favorite, and I still have it covered with. I dressed the DeLorean up for Halloween with like Buckaroo Banzai and Ghostbusters decals, and they're still on the car. So yeah, it drew a lot of stares at daycare when I pull up in the Ghostbusting time vehicle.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm doing my part to keep Austin weird.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of questions from our community who are interested in communicating with you via both our IRC and through the blog. Would you be down for like answering some questions?
I am down for that, man.
Excellent. Okay. So first question that came in is, do you have like a favorite line in Fanboys or a favorite exchange in Fanboys?
I think probably my favorite scene or a series of lines is the guys jumping to light speed in the van when they're getting chased by the cops, and then they have like nitrous installed in their Millennium Falcon road trip vehicle, and that was in the original script of Fanboys that I wrote way back in 1998, and it survived through all the different drafts and all of the development and changes that the studio made, and somehow ended up in the movie kind of unchanged, and so that's my favorite scene, and that's actually the scene that they put on the Star Wars Blu-ray box set that just came out. So yeah, that weird piece of nerdiness that I came up with is now like immortalized on the Star Wars Blu-ray box set. So that's something that I wish I could go back and like tell my 12-year-old self that was going to happen.
In a movie like that, like how much did the studio actually want to modify things? Like what was that process like?
It was nightmare, dude. It went on and on. We like finished filming that movie in I want to say mid 2006, and it didn't come out until 2009 in February. And that whole like 2 years, we spent like fighting with the studio because they wanted to completely change the whole plot line. Like, and it was always about these guys going on a road trip to do something cool for their dying friend, who was a huge Star Wars fan, and after we had shot the movie and finished it, like they decided that maybe they would take out that whole dying friend plot line and then just have them be a bunch of nerds going on a road trip for no other reason than that they wanted to see the movie early, which was the whole like rip the whole heart out of the story. So they really wanted to change a lot of stuff, and there was a big battle with the studio over that. And it wasn't until like Star Wars fans started to write in and send them emails threatening to boycott their other movies that they finally like gave the movie back to us, the Star Wars fans who had made it, and let us finish it. But there's still like a lot of studio meddling stuff that's still in there that makes me cringe when I watch it. But by and large, it's the movie that we meant to make. But yeah, there's whenever you watch Fanboys and you feel like there's a scene where the movie's making fun of fanboys as opposed to like celebrating them or relating to them, that's usually when Hollywood changed something.
Are there any like Easter eggs and nods that might not be visible on the surface that managed to make it all the way through the process?
Into the movie, not anything like hidden. When I came to the set, like this was my first movie, and I had like waited for like 7-8 years for it to finally get made. So when I finally got to go to the set of Fanboys, I was geeking out like never before, and I brought all of my Star Wars toys from when I was a kid and gave them to the set designer and the prop guy and asked them to sneak all of my Star Wars crap from when I was a kid into the movie. So when I watch the movie, that's what I'm always looking for, is like my Star Wars lunchbox and my land speeder and stuff from when I was a kid that I snuck into the movie, and now it's immortalized for all time. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we have another hard-hitting, important question as to what your stance is on erotic Star Trek fan fiction.
Erotic Star Trek fan. I think all types of fan fiction are a good thing, and that's just people celebrating something that they love and making it their own. And as long as yeah. And I may have read a Kirk Spock / fiction story or two in my time. Who hasn't?
Well, yeah,
wow,
exactly.
that's easily the most thought-provoking answer, serious answer that we've got. We asked everyone that question, and you're the only person that actually really gave a real
owned
answer.
up to having a bunch of / fiction on my hard drive.
No, but they're usually comedy answers. You actually gave an answer that was awesome.
Yeah, we had to take the feed down just like for a couple minutes earlier today, and we were having actually a quite thought-provoking discussion about the necessity of that kind of fan fiction, and like sometimes there's just so much tension on the Enterprise that
some things need to be worked out. I have before I became a professional screenwriter, the first screenplay that I ever wrote was actually a fan script. It was a sequel. It was the promised sequel to Buckaroo Banzai, Across the Eighth Dimension. So like the very first screenplay that I ever wrote was essentially just glorified Buckaroo Banzai fan fiction that I put out onto the internet. So and for years I tried to hide that because I was afraid that maybe that would like prevent me from being taken seriously as a real writer. But now I realize that the only difference between like fan fiction and something that you're paid to write is that you do one out of love and the other is a job. So you can have some amazing stuff from fan fiction, and it's written by the people who know that material or that world better than anybody. And so and if they people need to get it on in 10 forward as a result of that, then that's just a side effect.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's also folks asking about a possible Ready Player One movie adaptation or possible other places that could go.
Well, yeah, the day after I sold the book to Random House, Warner Brothers bought the movie rights, so I spent the first like half of this year writing the screenplay adaptation of my book for Warner Brothers, and now they're using that script to hire a director, and they're it's Warner Brothers, so they have a lot of amazing directors that they work with, and they're sending the script out to them now. So they seem really enthusiastic about making a movie out of it starting next year. But with Hollywood, I've learned with Fanboys to just be cautious with my enthusiasm and to wait until stuff actually happens before I get really excited. But they seem really enthusiastic about it, and they so I have high hopes. And there's some actually movie concept artwork footage that you can that's already been put together that you can check out on my website.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a little concerned for your well-being. It seems like the chassis of a DeLorean would only be sufficient to repel 3, maybe 4 women at a time. Now, with all the women who would regularly be throwing themselves at your vehicle, how often is it compromised?
I've never actually had any women throw themselves at my vehicle while it's moving, at least. They often want to pose for photos with it, but they usually don't want me in the photo. So it's all about the car. And I think maybe part of the thing that counteracts the inherent sexiness of the DeLorean is the Ghostbusters and Buckaroo Banzai decals that are on the car. That kind of signals, hey, it's just not a guy with a cool car. It's clearly a huge fucking nerd. So I think that balances out. I'm sorry, am I allowed to drop F-bomb on here?
You say busing.
Yeah, if you could replace it with busing whenever possible, that would be
Oh,
good.
busing. I'm sorry. I'll do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no worries. Just give the whole answer again, and we'll retake it.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
Sweet. Some folks asking about collaborating with Will Wheaton to narrate Ready Player One. Whether you actually had any direct contact with him.
I did. That was actually my idea. Like I had done some public speaking and like spoken word performance stuff a long time ago, and so it was arranged for me to do the audiobook, but I didn't want to do it because all of my favorite audiobooks have always been read by actors who like bring all the characters to life, and there's a big difference between like an author reading their own material and like a professional actor doing it, and so I always knew I wanted to have somebody else do it, and like even I think before I finished the book I knew that Will would be the perfect guy, because I needed, my book's full of like video game and 80s pop culture references, and so I needed someone of my generation who would understand all of that, know all those references, and be able to, you know, pronounce them correctly and also know what they are, because if you're reading about stuff and you don't know what you're talking about, then that comes across in the performance. So Will was like the perfect guy, and I wrote him like a long, rambling letter telling him why he would be perfect to do it, and sent it to him with a copy of the book, but I had like an old address for him, and so it got sent back, and when I reread the letter, I was actually, thank God he didn't get this, because it would have scared him off, because it was so like creepy. But then that same day that I got like a message from my publisher that he had already said yes, just because he dug the idea and dug the book, and he and I had like touched base over the internet from my spoken word stuff that he had like linked on FARC like 8 or 9 years earlier. So I kind of had contact with him, and so I was really excited when he agreed to do it. And the director of the audiobook, the day before they started recording, sent me like this long list of words that he wasn't sure Will would know how to pronounce. And like the first one on the list was Galaga. He's like, what is this Galaga? I'm like, that's Galaga. And Will is going to know how to pronounce Galaga and everything else on this list. And he did. Like, he only had to call me like once during the whole audiobook recording. And it's, you know, I know I'm biased, but it's like my favorite audiobook recording ever. And I got to listen to it for the first time on my book tour in my DeLorean, listening to Will Wheaton read my nerdy audiobook. So it's like the car could have, you know, exploded from the stupidity of nerding out that was going on.
We also understand that on your book tour you had a chance to swing by and visit our friend Mikey Newman, who, you know, we send our heart out to that too, because, yeah, we thought that was a really cool and nice gesture.
He is like the coolest guy. Well, that was like more of a, like they invited me, like, hey, would you like to come up and like, you know, help cheer Mikey up? And I was just trying to like hide my own excitement, like, oh, I get to go take a tour of Gearbox and meet everybody who works there, and you know, see like their Aliens Colonial Marines game early. Like it was more exciting for me, you know, even than I think it was for Mikey. Like I showed up with my DeLorean, but we didn't even go out and mess with the DeLorean for like 2 hours because I was too busy geeking out inside the Gearbox offices. So I got to meet everybody there, and they, you know, and I played Borderlands and loved it. And I even like, you know, I love that they finished Duke Nukem Forever. They're like, everybody at Gearbox is amazing, and I made like instant friends with Mikey. And he's calling you guys later today, right?
Yeah, he'll be calling in a few hours. Yeah.
Cool. I'll tell him I said hey.
Yeah, we'll do. All right, so I've got one more question for you, and then we have actually something to auction off.
We've got a copy of Ready Player One, signed by Ernie Klein right here.
Signed by some
Ernest,
guy.
by Ernest Klein.
Yeah, that's my fancy author name.
Yes.
Is Ernest, yeah.
So yeah, so a copy of Ready Player One, signed by Ernie Klein, will be auctioned off just in a couple minutes here.
All right.
So get ready, everybody.
Yeah, I have one more very vague, wishy-washy, over-the-plate question for you, which is, and I will have one more thing to ask you actually after the auction as well. But so, are you working on anything new right now?
I am working on a screenplay for like a little coming of age movie, kind of like my version of Dazed and Confused, but it's set in the '80s and has to do with Commodore 64s and Dungeons and Dragons and They Might Be Giants and